blockchain technology. This is Ferdin for Ferdin Speaks. So in this video, I'm going to explain about smart contracts. In this lecture, I have given the slides with the Hyperledger framework and the smart contracts, which is available in the description. Since Hyperledger is just a framework and doesn't have anything to explain much, I have not covered it. So I'm going to explain about smart contracts. So here you can see the news interview with Edward Snowden about the Bitcoin and its future. He says like the Bitcoin has not much of good future, but crypto is going to stay. So in this aspect, how we are going to manage blockchain, we are going to use smart contracts. So forget Bitcoin and its blockchain. Smart contracts, a brief history is like it was theoretically developed by Nick Szabo in 1997. So the base of smart contracts is not new. The usage of smart contracts is new, but not its invention. It was invented way before in 1997. According to Nick Szabo, smart contract is defined as a smart contract is a computerized transaction protocol that executes the terms of a contract. The general objectives are to satisfy common contractual conditions such as payment terms, liens, confidentiality, and even enforcement, minimize exceptions both malicious and accidental, and minimize the need for trusted intermediaries. Related economic goals include lowering fraud loss arbitrations and enforcement costs and other transaction costs. So this is just the basic definition given by Nick Szabo. He has not developed the smart contracts. In fact, he has done something called as a Ricardian contracts. So the definition for this Ricardian contract is given here as I read out. So the actual definition of smart contract is a secure and unstoppable computer program representing an agreement that is automatically executable and enforceable. So it's actually a piece of code which is executable to enforce an agreement between a buyer and the seller, or the one who send the transaction to the one who receive the transaction. So we just need to keep in mind that smart contract is a piece of code which enforces an agreement. So the properties of smart contract: it is automatically executable, enforceable, and semantically it is sound, and it is more secure and unstoppable when you compare with the old way of sending crypto coins. And the features of smart contracts: it is deterministic, and it is terminable, and it is isolated. You can isolate this thing from mixing up with the whole system, and it is deterministic, and it is terminable. You can terminate this contract at any time. Smart contracts must be understood by both people and machine. Ian Gregg invented Ricardian contracts, whose architecture explains the real principle of smart contracts. Ricardian contract was developed in the late 1990s. It is used for bond trading and payment system Ricardo. So that's why it is called as Ricardian contracts. So here we have the properties of Ricardian contracts: a contract offered by an user to holders, a valuable right held by holders and managed by the issuer. It is easily readable by the people. Like a contract on paper, the piece of code which we see is like you can easily understand, and it is readable by the programs. It is passable like a database. It has digitally signed signatures. You can have your digital signatures which is encrypted and stored in this code, and it carries the keys and the server information. It is allied with unique and secure identifier. And then we have the bow tie diagram which explains about the Ricardian contract. In the left pane, we have the word of law, which is written contract in legal prose, including some machine readable tags, and then it is subjected to message digest function. It will create a hash for this secure identifier, and this hash value is taken as the transaction of the world of accountancy. So this hash value is executed for enforcing the conditions in the contract. So this is how the Ricardian contract works. And then we have the difference between the Ricardian and smart contracts. We take Ricardian contract in one axis and the smart contract in another axis. We see like the increasing in the semantic richness, the example that is the Ricardian bonds, and the increasing the performance of richness, example the Bitcoin scripts for the smart contracts. And then we have the features of smart contracts. It is autonomy, it is automatically executable. You are the one making the agreement, there is no need to rely on a broker or lawyer. And then the trust, your documents are encrypted on a shared ledger and it is highly encrypted and you cannot crack it much, or any hacker cannot interfere into this smart contract. And it has a backup. On a blockchain, your documents are duplicated many times over. As I mentioned about blockchain, it is like a network of distributed nodes. So all the nodes will carry all the copy of all your transactions. So it has a huge backup. So your copy of your contract is not going to disappear anywhere. Savings. Smart contracts save you money since they knock out the presence of an intermediary. So you will cut the cost when you are using smart contracts. Accuracy. Smart contracts are not only faster and cheaper but also avoid the errors that come from manually filling out heaps of forms. So you don't need to do a lot of paperwork to create a contract. It is much easier than these kind of things. And the differences in tuples of Ricardian contract and smart contract, we have pros, parameters and code in case of Ricardian contract. But when you take in smart contracts, instead of pros we have this transaction, and then instead of parameters we have encryption, and then the same code as in Ricardian contract we are going to have this smart contract. A smart contract uses the transactions encryption, and they are used as a code to empower the agreement done between two parties. And then we have the difference between the smart contract and the traditional contract. A traditional contract is a set of statements which is written on a piece of paper, which has the operational semantics, operational agreement, who delivers what and what is there in return, and when they will be paid, etc. But if you take in smart contracts, which you see in the right side, it is a piece of code. It looks like some kind of markups, which says like the typically smart contracts are operational semantics. It's the denotational semantics need to be added in some form. So this will be like a piece of code which executes when the conditions of the smart contract is satisfied. Next we have the way how it works with the smart contract, simple to complex. We have digital value exchange, and then the smart and right obligation, basic smart contract, and multi-party smart contract is now available, and it is going towards a distributed autonomous business unit and business organizations, and finally it goes to autonomous government and autonomous society. So it is automizing so many things in the society over the transactions and financial flow of the society. So the applications of smart contracts, it is used in banks, insurance and postals. In banks, it is used for processing the loans and for automated payments between the lender and the loan beneficiary. And then the insurance companies are using these smart contracts for processing the claims, because for insurance, if you take a policy, you are going to have a lot of conditions for claiming the money when you are supposed to get benefited by that insurance stuff. So for processing the claims, it creates all these conditions inside this automatically executed code. Thereby the processing of claims becomes more transparent than the traditional ones. And then for postal, we have payment on delivery. Like for international postage, we are going to pay a lot of money for import and export and whatever it is. So these are made as an automated transparent system, and thereby this postal system has a transparency. And the properties of smart contract, it is accessible for everyone, everyone can interact, and the consensus about the outcome. So these are the properties of smart contract. So that is, it is more transparent and anyone can interact, and it is accessible to anyone. And then what can it do? The smart contracts can send and receive coins, and it can interact with other contracts. So if we say about the traditional way, we send some coins through the blockchain, it is managing with only one transaction. If we need to deal with multiple transactions and we need to have interoperability, then we can use the smart contracts which interacts with other smart contracts as well. So this is a huge difference which the smart contracts are really making nowadays. And then the smart contracts are supported by these blockchain providers: Ethereum, EOS, Stellar, Neor, Cardano, and the Hyperledger Fabric. So right now smart contracts are supported by these. So pretty much is enough. Like most of the blockchains are made using Ethereum, Stellar, and Cardano. So if we use these, definitely we can use smart contracts for the implementation. And the smart contract language, basically Ethereum, Monax, Hyperledger blockchains were using Solidity, and now they are using Swift language. And influenced by these languages are influenced by C++, Python, and JavaScript. Ethereum used Serpent and no longer safe to use. So prior to Serpent, they used triple L. LV is used by Bitcoin blockchain. Pact is used by Cardano blockchain. So these are the various languages used for implementing the smart contracts in various blockchains all over the world. So if you want to create a smart contract for your blockchain system, then you can consider learning these languages for implementing smart contracts in your blockchain systems. And the future of smart contracts. Viper and Flint are new languages which are being in consideration to be used by Ethereum blockchain. And then Plutus is in consideration to be used by Cardano based blockchain. And then we have some kind of white papers. You can learn about Hyperledger from the first link, and the Ricardian contract from the second link. These are white papers which will help you to learn about much in detail about these smart contracts and Ricardian contracts. So that's all about today's lecture. I will provide the link for this PowerPoint from my SlideShare in the description down below. Then I have given the link for the playlist of all the blockchain videos I have made so far. That is also available in this description. So those who are new to my videos and those who are not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, like to my videos, comment if you have any questions, and please share the video. Please don't forget to subscribe my videos. Thank you so much.